Hello everyone, let us solve the 20 to 15 paper of AIBE. The first question is Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana is mainly meant to serve the needs of. The answer is unorganized sector workers belonging to BPL category and their family members below poverty line. Equal pay for equal work for both men and women is proclaimed under dash of the Constitution of India. The answer is Article 39, Clause D, where any workman is suspended by the employer pending investigation or inquiry into complaints or charges of misconduct against him, the employer shall pay to such workman subsistence allowance. This provision was inserted in the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946 in the year 1982. Here, I've already marked the answer. Dash was a leading case on the point as to whether an employer has a right to deduct wages unilaterally and without holding an inquiry for the period the employees go on strike or resort to go slow. The Bank of India versus T.S. Kelaswala and others was the answer. Under Industrial Disputes Act, if the employer terminates the services of an individual workman, any dispute difference arising out of such termination shall be deemed to be industrial dispute. This grammar school case is leading case to explain damnum sine injuria. Right to freedom to acquire, hold, and dispose of property is abolished by 44th Amendment Act of 1978. Which one of the following is covered under the definition of state? NCERT is covered in the definition of state. अब ये answer के लिए it is needed from our end to know what all case laws have come up with respect to Article 12, which defines state, so that we are able to answer these. But obviously पॉसिबल नहीं होगा कि सारी ही चीजें आपको पता हो. So it is always better to focus on the questions which are given in the past year papers to at least understand what kind of questions to expect. National Conservation Strategy and Policy Statement on Environment and Development is a major environmental policy in India, and it was passed in the year 1992. Dash of the Environmental Protection Act 1989 uh, defines environment, and the answer over here is section 2, clause A. Polluter pays principle means polluter should bear the cost of pollution as the polluter is responsible for pollution. Right answer is A. Now, this is a rather long paragraph. Pollution is a civil wrong. By its very nature, it is a tort committed against the community as a whole. A person, therefore, who is guilty of causing problem has to pay damages for restoration of the environment. He has also to pay damages to those who have suffered loss on account of the act of the offender. Further, the offender can also be held liable to pay exemplary damages so that it may act as a deterrent for others not to cause pollution in any manner. However, the court cannot impose any pollution fine in absence of any trial and finding of guilty under the relevant statutory provisions. This observation was made in the landmark case of MC Mehta versus Union of India. No, see, sorry, this is the common mistake we usually made. ये कमलनाथ वाला case है. This is not MC Mehta versus Union of India. The first party is obviously MC Mehta, but the opponent over here was Kamalnath. So remember, pollution is a civil wrong case में MC Mehta versus Kamalnath का case है. Then India became a party to the International Convention on Biological Diversity in the year 1994. A railway company is in possession of goods as a consignee. It does not claim any interest in the goods except lien of wharfage, demurrage, and freight, but rival claims have been made by B and C adversely to each other. A can institute an interpleader suit. As per the provisions of Criminal Procedure Code, the word inspection used in Section 93, Clause 1 C refers to locality and place. ये आपको easily मिल जाएगा bare act में because these are few direct questions. Similarly, statement recorded during investigation under section 161 of CRPC can be used in trial during trial for contradicting the witness. But if an accused is charged of a major offense but is not found guilty thereunder, he can be convicted of minor offense if the facts established indicate that such minor offense has been committed. This was held in the case of State of Himachal Pradesh versus Tara Datta. This is also a repeat question. Ex dolo malo or icter actionio is no action on an immoral act. The jural correlative of immunity is disability. ID, immunity, disability. Who defines eternal law as the divine order or will of God which requires the preservation of natural order and forbids the breach thereof? This was Augustine. Now let us move ahead. Government, even in its best state, is but a necessary evil. In its worst state, an intolerable one. Who stated the same? Thomas Paine. Remember, this is a very painful statement, and that is why the answer is Thomas Paine. The Constitution of India has recognized the concept of tribunals as instruments of quasi-judicial administrative adjunction. इसका आंसर है आर्टिकल 323A and 323B. Option B. Nemo judex causa sua, meaning no man shall be a judge in his own case, was first stated by Dash in Dr. Bonham's case. Coke. Nemo Coke. General power of the Bar Council of India to make rules is envisaged under which section of the Advocates Act 1961? Again, this is a direct question, and the answer over here is section 49. Seven lamps of advocacy is attributable to Abbott Parry. Seven lamps of advocacy. Which section under the Advocates Act 1961 speaks of disciplinary powers of the Bar Council of India? 36. Section dash of Advocates Act 1961 speaks about constitution of legal aid committees. 9A. Section 89 of the CPC was incorporated through CPC Amendment Act of Dash, which is prominent provision that discusses about the jurisdiction of civil courts in applying alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. इसका आंसर है 1999. In which case the Supreme Court held that Part 1 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act would equally apply to international commercial arbitration held outside India unless any or all provisions have been excluded by agreement between the parties. Bhartiya International versus bulk trading. This is a very landmark case. Establishment of permanent lok adalats is envisaged under dash of the Legal Services Authorities Act of 1987. The right answer over here is section 22B. Evidence to document unmeaning in reference to existing facts is called latent ambiguity. Original um, original document is the best evidence. Exception to this rule is contained in Banker's Book Evidence Act. These are few questions which you have to memorize unless you have learnt about it earlier. ये आपको बेयर एक्ट में directly कहीं नहीं मिलने वाले हैं. Doctrine of election is based on the foundation that a person taking the benefit of an instrument must bear the burden. Period of limitation for execution of the order of maintenance is dash from the date on which it becomes due. 1 year. Identify the correct order in which the following law-making treaties are concluded. Now, for this, we need to know the year of each treaty. यहाँ पे जो right answer है C है 2, 1 and 3. तो सबसे पहले जनरल अग्रीमेंट ऑन टैरिफ्स एंड ट्रेड हुआ था, फिर वेना कन्वेंशन and Declaration of Paris is this. Which one of the following doctrine requires that the parties to a treaty are bound to observe its terms in good faith? The Drago Doctrine. General Assembly adopted the definition of word aggression through none of the above. ये सारे resolution सही नहीं है. The admission of a new political entity into the United Nations can be termed as collective recognition. Then a state is and becomes an international person through recognition only and exclusively. Who stated this? Oppenheim. The United Nations Commission on International Trade Law, that is UNITRAL, adopted the model law on e-commerce in the year 1996. Section 3 of the IT Act, which was originally digital signature, was renamed as Dash in the IT Amendment Act 2008. The answer is digital signature and electronic signature. Electronic signature add हो गया था. Which among the following are digital signature certifying authorities in India? MS SafeScript. Section 43 of the IT Act deals with civil liability. Where a body corporate is negligent in implementing reasonable security practices and thereby causes wrongful loss or gain to any person, such body corporate shall be liable to pay damages by way of compensation to the person so affected. Which section of IT Act Amendment Act of 2008 envisages so 43A? R obtained a sum of 50,000 from D by putting D in fear of death. R commits, ये भी repeat question है, extortion. What is the period of limitation to file a suit for compensation for false imprisonment? 1 year. As per Section 19 of the Limitation Act 1963, if any payment is made on account of a debt before the expiration of such prescribed period by a person liable to pay the debt or by his agent duly authorized in that behalf, a fresh period of limitation starts running from the when creditor demands. Option C. Under the Companies Act 2013, any company having a net worth of rupees 500 crore or more, or a turnover of 1000 crore or more, or a net profit of rupees 5 crore or more, should mandatorily spend dash of their net profits as fiscal on corporate social responsibility activities, and ये है 2%. The dash guidelines constitute one of the most comprehensive CSR tools available to the companies. OECD. Conditions of Hindu marriage have been laid down under dash of the Hindu Marriage Act, Section 5. The Hindu Succession Amendment Act of 2005 allows daughters of deceased equal rights with sons. This is a very important section and amendment which was made. The Fuller Hart debate could be summarized as a debate between which two jurisprudential approaches or positions, natural law and positivism. ठीक है. In bailment, if the goods are lent free of cost to the bailee for his use, it is known as bailment by accommodation. Where the proposal and acceptance is through letters, the contract is made at the place where the letter of acceptance is posted. The surety stands discharged by variance in terms of the contract without his consent. All contracts which are unlawful and void are known as nugatory contracts. The section dash of the Negotiable Instruments Act deals with noting. 57 का आंसर है 99. Cancellation of crossing is called opening of crossing. Negotiable claim issued by a bank in return for a term deposit is called certificate of deposit. Negotiable claim issued by a bank, okay, in return for a term deposit, certificate of deposit. Wager relate to present event, past event, future event, any of the above. In the judgment of Supreme Court in Salem Bar Association versus Union of India, the Supreme Court had requested this committee headed by Dash to prepare a case management formula. The answer over here is Justice Jagananda Rao. The 2013 Companies Act has increased the limit of number of members in private company from 50 to 200. The standards of auditing have been accorded legal sanctity in 2013 Act and would be subject to notification by the NFRA. Qui facet per alium facet per se means an act of an agent is the act of the principal. Vicarious liability के अंदर ये maxim आता है. The concept of privity of contract was rejected in Donahue versus Stevenson. Dash is observed as the world's Consumer Rights Day. Again, this is sort of like a GK. The right answer is 15th of March. Accountability of medical professional and the need for qualitative change in the attitude of the medical services provided by the hospitals was emphasized by the Supreme Court in the following cases. Indian Medical Association versus VP Shanta. If you've noticed the trend, it is more focused upon the landmark judgments rather than the recent ones. Obviously, there are recent judgments also, but majority or a large portion of it is from the landmark cases. Then renewal of driving license is envisaged under section dash of the Motor Vehicles Act, section 15. Section 82 is an illustration of presumption of law. Meaning of nemo moratoris praesumter mentiri. Pardon my pronunciation. The answer for 70 is a dying man may not speak falsehood. If a court lower to the sessions court tries a murder case, the court is called coram non judice. SFIO stands for Serious Fraud Investigation Office. Which provision of the Companies Act 2013 discusses about the issue of bonus shares out of its free reserves or the securities premium account or the capital redemption account, reserve account subject to the compliance with certain conditions such as authorization by articles, approval in the general meeting. Section 63. Here, the question whether the fundamental right can be amended under Article 368 came for consideration first time in the case of Shankari Prasad versus Union of India. A law which violates fundamental rights is not nullity or void ab initio but becomes only unenforceable. This doctrine is known as doctrine of eclipse. Article 13 of the Indian Constitution, this has been dealt with. Then equality of opportunity admits discrimination with reasons. It was observed by the apex court in the case of State of Kerala versus N.M. Thomas. Then let's move on. An executive magistrate may require security for keeping good behavior from habitual offenders for a period not more than 3 years. Section 167 of the Criminal Procedure provides that the nature of the custody can be altered from the judicial custody to police custody and vice versa. This alteration can be done during the period of first 14 days. Under which provision of the CRPC it is mandatory for a police officer to inform the person arrested of the grounds of arrest and the right of bail if the offense is non-bailable. Section 105. Section 41B is inserted into the Criminal Procedure Code on the basis of which among the following decisions DK Basus versus State of West Bengal. Civil surgeon shall refer unsound minded person to a clinical psychologist or psychiatrist. However, by virtue of dash, the aggrieved accused may prefer appeal before medical board consisting of the head of psychiatry and faculty of medical college. ये है section 328 clause 2. What are the remedies open to the party aggrieved in a suit on contracts? All of the above. Specific performance damages, injunction सब होते हैं. A resides at Delhi and B at Agra. B borrows rupees 20,000 from A at Benares and passes a promissory note to A payable at Benares. B fails to repay the loan. A may sue at Benares or Agra. The general principle of waiver that provides that failure to raise an objection in the court of the first instance and at the earliest opportunity shall prevent the defendant from raising such objection at a subsequent stage, and the judgment would not be vitiated on the ground of absence of territorial or pecuniary jurisdiction is reflected in which procedure provision of the CRPC section 21. Act of the court can do no wrong to any person. Which concept relates to this ideology? Restitution. Rabindra Kumar Pal Dara Singh versus Union of India is a famous case coming under Section 30 of the Evidence Act, also well known as Graham Staines murder case. Staines, Dara Staines. Statement by a person who is dead is a relevant fact under which provision of the Indian Evidence Act, Section 32, Clause 5. A charge sheet filed under Section 173 of the CRPC is an example of public document. Procedure of investigation of criminal cases under the Criminal Procedure Code is contained in which chapter? Chapter 12. Frost versus Knight is a leading case law for section 34. अभी बहुत सारी बार ये भी हो जाता है that they are not telling you which act are they referring to or which section of a particular act they are giving as options. तो वहाँ पे obviously either you do a guesswork or if you remember the case name that is how you can relate कि okay कौन सा बेयर एक्ट आपको रेफर करना है. But irrespective, make sure that you're marking each and every question because there is no negative marking in AIBE. Which among the following is a law based on equity? Specific Relief Act of 1963 is the right answer. Let's move on to 92. Which section of Specific Relief Act describes temporary injunction? Section 37. The maintenance amount which can be transferred is errors of maintenance up to a certain date. The maximum period during which property can be tied up is one or more life or lives in being at the date of transfer and the minority of an unborn person. Whoever causes bodily pain, disease, or infirmity to any person is said to have inflicted dash on the victim, hurt. Let us move on to the last five questions of this paper quickly. Personation of election is an offense under dash of the Indian Penal Code, Section 171D. Raman, having found a key of Raju's house with which Raju had lost, commits house trespass by entering Raju's house after opening the door with the key. Raman has committed the offense of Housebreaking. Dash defined crime as a violation of public rights and duties due to the whole community considered as community. The right answer over here is Blackstone. Who among the following is not a public servant? You also have to make sure that you're reading the questions currently correctly. Not पूछा है कि कौन है, पूछा है, that is also very important. Answer is secretary of a cooperative society is not a public servant. Then the last question over here is the Sapurna Gramin Rozgar Yojana, that is Universal Rural Employment Program, was launched in 2001 and was implemented through panchayats and Raj institutions. So that was it about the 2015 paper. In the next lecture, we will start with the 2016 paper.